Okay, today we're going to be working on this Belarus 250AS tractor. And like a lot of Belarus tractors, this one here has a hard time starting. This has the two-cylinder air-cooled diesel engine, and it has a higher compression, and it is hard to get it cranked over enough to get it fired. It just turns over real slow, and even with the decompression pulled, as soon as you left decompression, the engine stops and won't turn. So there's other things you can do. You can get a gear reduction starter and different things for these tractors to help the cranking issues. But we're going to start off simple here and replace out the battery cables. Now this tractor has a lot of wiring issues. Will not start with the key switch, so we have to use a screwdriver and jump across the starter solenoid to get it to crank over. And that is not recommended to start any tractor that way. It's really dangerous. If the tractor's in gear, it could take off because it goes around all safeties, and just is not a good idea to start a tractor that way. If you ever would happen to have to start one that way, make sure you use extreme caution, and it's not recommended. So before we get started here, don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Hit the notification bell to notify new videos, and be sure to give the video a like, and always comment down below. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. And we're going to go ahead get started. I'm going to pass the camera out to my brother, who knows more about wiring and can explain things a little bit better. And let's see what he has to say and see if we can't get this fixed. So you just saw on how it won't crank over very well, and it doesn't even crank well with the decompression. And with decompression pulled, it should spin right along because there is no problem. I mean, it's just open. So it's a good battery, and we know the battery will start engines that are bigger than this without a problem, so it has to be in the tractor setup. And it isn't the compression or how difficult it is to turn the engine. So I'm starting with the battery cables. I've mentioned this before in other days that the battery cables make a big difference in amperage. And this cable's not a bad size. It's about right. It looks original. But if you notice here, that eyelet is a little burned and it looks old and small. It's not as heavy as it could be. And so I'm going to switch out that cable for that reason. And we circle around here. And I think the big culprit of this is Belarus had this idea of this switch. Pops up like that when you hit it in here. You push it down to start. All that does is, if you look in here, if you can see it, that just is where the ground cable goes. And so when the switch is popped up, it disconnects the ground cable from the tractor and completely kills all the electric. It just disconnects your battery completely. My only guess is, but being these were Belarus and used in a very cold climate, we're guessing it must have been so you didn't drain your battery so easy. But I don't know why they did that, because a decent wiring setup should not drain your battery. It should be disconnected when you turn the key off. And I think that is a big problem, because not only is this cable too small, it's just not a very big gauge. But that switch, you're going to lose a lot of amperage through that switch. It's just not a good connection. And then also, it's grounded into the dash in the tin. And then the tin's grounded to the tractor by another cable. And all those connections, each connection like that, you're going to lose amperage. And then so you add all those together and you're just not going to start well. We've kind of seen this with other machinery. And a lot of people say you just got to get more batteries or bigger batteries. They sell gear reduction starters. And there's just no reason for that. They should start just fine. And so I'm going to redo the battery cables. I'm going to go around that switch, and I'm just going to hook it up the same way I would any other tractor that we've worked on before. And you'll see this even more so in 6-volt systems. If you're running an old 40s tractor or something and they're still on 6-volt, 6-volt's notorious for having a lot of trouble starting an engine. And the key is massive cables. And so what we're putting on is, I had some cables that we got off of a combine we salvaged. And we hauled it for scrap, and we kept the cables. And you can see the difference in this cable size. And so there we go. You can see the difference in that cable size. It is a 3/0 cable, which is really big, but it'll carry amperage really well. And so that's what I think is going to fix it. So we're going to get started here and swap these cables out, and we'll see how it works. Okay, the tractor started way easier with the large battery cables, and given these cables are really large, but we have had similar issues with tractors before, especially if you're running 6 volt. Now this is not 6 volt, this is 12 volt, but we had a 9N on 6 volt and we had awful starting troubles. We put cables on it about this exact same size, and we never had a starting problem with it again. It always just fired right up, no hesitation, no issues whatsoever. So this is always a good modification to do on any tractor, and it really helps them out a lot. It really helps cranking, especially in cold weather. And so this is really a great idea to do on any machine. So I would say with this tractor, with the decompression pole, it probably spins 3 times faster than what it did with the old cables. I'll play these 2 video clips here back to back so you can get an idea on the difference. Now there's no comparison between those 2 videos, that the new cables made a world of difference on cranking it over. And the only reason why, when we had the decompression pole, the tractor was a little bit slower starting, was actually my fault, because I did not set the throttle, and the throttle was all the way back into the kill position. And so once I brought the throttle up, it then fired right up. We have a lot more videos coming up on this Belarus tractor. Like I said, we have a bunch of wiring here that needs to be done. We're going to go through the whole thing and get it all sorted out. This tractor's been sitting, it's been sitting a year, and the guy I got it from didn't hardly use it at all. And the guy he bought it from didn't use it because he can never get started. And I don't know about the owner before that. This tractor only has 330 hours on it, so it has not been used much at all. It's barely been broken in. So this tractor is spending a lot of time sitting, and we already have a new set of tires that's going to go on the front of it, and all the wiring is going to be replaced. Looks like some mice and pack rats got in there, chewed out quite a bit of wiring, so we're going to go in, get all that replaced, get all the lights rewired and working, get the seat replaced, and try to get this tractor cleaned up real nice, and then it's going to be going up for sale. And so we have quite a bit of stuff going to be happening with this tractor, so be sure you stick around to see more stuff on these Belaruses. Now, this is the first Belarus tractor I've ever had. I've seen them go past for sale, and I've heard some pretty negative things about them. But there's also a lot of good stuff about them, and I think if you kind of have an idea on how they work and stuff, a lot of people just want a standard new tractor, and they say these are not very user-friendly stuff, but I really haven't noticed. I'm used to running machinery from the 50s, and so this here is quite nice to me. So anyway, we have a lot more videos coming up on this tractor, a lot more videos coming up on other projects and other builds and making other things, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that stuff. And that's going to do it here for now. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next weekend.